I received a call on a lost 999 frequency late one night. The line was faint and filled with static, but I could hear a small, fragile voice on the other end, trembling with fear. It was a child, no older than 7 or 8, whispering that she wasn't alone. The words came out in small fragments, broken and hesitant, and every breath she took sounded shallow and uneven, as if she was afraid to inhale fully. From the first moment, I could feel a heaviness in the air through the receiver. There was something about the tone, the way the static would swell and fade, that made it clear this call was not ordinary. I asked her gently if she was hurt, or if anyone was with her, trying to keep my voice calm, soft, and steady. Her answers were slow, almost inaudible at times, and every response seemed to carry a hidden dread. She said she didn't have her parents with her. When I pressed further, asking who else might be there, she hesitated, her voice dropping even lower. It was then that she whispered a single phrase that made the hairs on my neck stand up. "She is." I asked her to explain, to describe who she was, but the line went quiet. Only the faintest, chilling whisper followed, mingled with static, almost as if someone, or something, was listening on the other end. I tried to coax her, asking if she could put the phone on speaker so I could hear better. She refused, saying the presence wouldn't allow it. The air on the line felt thick, almost tangible, as if a shadow had settled between us. I could hear subtle movements, almost imperceptible, like footsteps echoing across a distant floor, or the slight creak of a door somewhere beyond her voice. I asked her to describe the figure she mentioned. Her voice barely reached me, shaky and distant, but she said it looked like her mother, yet not quite her mother. There was a hollowness in the description, a sense that the figure had taken her mother's place, leaving only a ghostly echo behind. Every word she spoke seemed to stretch the silence that followed, a silence heavy with dread. I listened intently, every sound amplified through the static. Her quick, shallow breaths, the faint rattle of something moving in the background, the soft thump of something falling just out of reach. The line seemed to warp and distort at moments, and I thought I could hear faint whispers, almost indecipherable, coming through the receiver. Sometimes the whispers would vanish, replaced by pure static that crackled and hissed like a living thing. Time seemed to stretch unnaturally. I asked her again if she was safe, if she could see anything unusual. She whispered that she could see shadows moving, shapes shifting at the corners of her vision. The description was fragmented, disjointed, but terrifyingly vivid. I could almost see the presence she described, looming just beyond what the child could see, always there, waiting. Minutes passed, or maybe hours, it's hard to tell. The line remained tense, a thin thread connecting me to this frightened child and whatever haunted her. Suddenly, a voice, deep and muffled, rose faintly through the static. It wasn't her voice, it was something else, a presence that seemed to drip through the line, warning me silently that I shouldn't have answered. I tried to speak, to reassure her, but the words faltered. The air on the other end felt heavier, oppressive, as if a weight had settled across the room. The child's breathing grew more erratic, faster, shallower, almost desperate. I could hear her small sobs interspersed with whispers, fragments of words that made no sense but carried a palpable fear. I could almost see her holding the phone, tiny hands shaking, knuckles white, as she tried to stay calm. Every so often I thought I could hear a floorboard creak, a soft step echoing from nowhere, or a distant whisper just beyond comprehension. Then came the briefest moment of silence, broken only by a faint, high-pitched whine in the background, almost imperceptible. It was then that I realized the voice, the presence she had described, was not bound by physical space. It seemed to drift across the line, stretching into the static, leaving behind a sense of cold dread that settled deep into my chest. The call ended suddenly, leaving only the low hum of static in its place. I documented the incident, but the location could not be traced, and the identity of the caller remains unknown. Yet even after the line went dead, the memory of the child's voice lingered, echoing in the corners of my mind. I returned to the recording later, listening carefully, hoping to catch details I might have missed. Every playback revealed new, unsettling sounds, a faint rasp of breath, the soft echo of footsteps, whispers that seemed to form words and then vanish again. It was as if the call had captured more than a simple emergency. It had captured a presence, an entity that existed only in the static and shadows. This recording was recovered from a lost emergency frequency. To this day, the signal occasionally reappears, faint and distorted, as if trying to reach someone who isn't listening. Some nights, I swear I can hear it faintly in the background of other calls, a reminder that certain frequencies are never meant to be discovered, and some calls are never meant to be answered. The child, her presence, the entity, everything remains unresolved. The air on that line felt heavy, oppressive, yet strangely alive. I can only document and remember and warn others. The lost frequencies carry voices that should remain unheard, warnings that should not be ignored, and mysteries that linger long after the static fades. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can hear the faint tremble of that child's voice, whispering from a distance I cannot reach. The echoes of that night persist, trapped in the airwaves, a haunting reminder that some calls never truly end, and some presences never truly leave.